I am Tim with the Scheib Real Estate team, and we are back on Behind the Sign with special guest Kristyn Gavazzi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing great. So you are with Coldwell Banker in North Carolina?
Correct.
Awesome. How long have you been in the business? And tell me a little bit about your market and the actual markets that you serve.
Okay, so I have been in the business. I'm entering my third year. I started in January of 2021. My market, I mainly work with military buyers. My husband is military, so that's my backbone. That's 100% what I love to work with. Our market is, I think ours is probably a little bit better than some areas just because Fort Bragg is huge and we constantly have people coming and going. So no matter what the market's doing everywhere else, Fort Bragg is always moving people twice a year.
Yep.
So that really helps our market, and it kind of helps us weather some of the ups and downs that a lot of other areas, experience. They always say that our market's delayed about 18 months, just if it's a really hard hit market. So everything's going well here. We've definitely experienced a lot of changes, especially since I started. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited to have time to show houses, to kind of be a little bit slower, to work on things that I didn't have time to do whenever we would go. But yeah, it's pretty good. I love it.
I mean, yeah, you started in 21, which is just not a realistic real estate market. So now you're probably going to get a little more of an introduction on what real estate is like, but you got a jump start and you're able to get things moving quickly in the beginning because it definitely was not normal in any way.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. And I'm learning. I'm super excited though, because I'm working on systems and CRM, like things that I didn't have time to do because if I'm being 100%, no. And I didn't have time to nurture clients or relationships. You either wanted to buy a house or you didn't. And I had to move on with somebody else that was ready to go because that's just how it was. So for me, that's my personality anyway. I'm a go, very high energy. So I'm not going to lie, this slowdown has made me, I'm like, oh, wait, I don't know how to be like, oh, you want to wait and think about that? Or you're not ready to buy yet. You want 6 months. So it's a big learning curve for me, but also I'm taking that time to realize, okay, let's work on systems and follow up things and just things I just wasn't able to do. So I'm learning.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like when you talk about personalities, that is a massive thing in real estate. And I don't think people understand that. I should just say sales in general, because you have people who are like the two of us who were go, move. We don't really do systems. I mean, I didn't even have a calendar until I was forced to get a calendar because I knew like my mind never stopped thinking about work. And so I always knew when my appointments would come up because I consistently reminded myself. And then once I got a calendar, I started missing appointments because I'd put it in my calendar and I'd forget about it. And then I wouldn't look at my calendar on time and I'd miss an appointment. I'm like, all right, the calendar's making me miss appointments. This makes no sense. But you have people who are successful in the go. And then you also have people who are successful in the systematic side of it. You're like, okay, this person doesn't have the go-getter attitude, but they're being very successful. And it's because of their systems that are put in place. So I personally am not the systems person. I will tell my assistant when she's working on the CRM, if we have a team meeting or if they have questions about it, I'm like, I'm going to zone out of this conversation because I want nothing to do with it. It gives me anxiety thinking about it. But to have a CRM is extremely important to our business and it's helped us go from one level to the next. It's just not my thing. So it's like in business, they always say, if you're going to partner with someone who's got the strengths and your weaknesses, and that's it.
Yes, correct. I am 100% finding that. And plus, you just can't do it all on your own. And you and I are obviously a lot alike. And when it's just going, like you said, you just forget that kind of stuff. And to me, I'm like, oh, well, that's not that important in some aspects. And then I have a friend who's helping me and she's like, no, we have to do that. So thank goodness I have her to kind of be like, hey, don't forget this, like something as silly as a work party last night. I totally was like, I don't have anything. She's like, yeah, we have the work party. I'm like, oh, So it's good to have somebody like that. That's like, that pushes me and keeps me on that whenever my mind is kind of in other places. So
yeah. So I'll put you on the spot here. What kind of volume did you do last year, units and just overall volume?
So last year, so 2022, I did 24 and 8.47 million.
Awesome. Awesome. That, I mean, for being in your second full year, that's an amazing, I mean, it took me, gosh, 10 years to get past 8 million, right? Like,
really?
That's awesome.
Well, thank you. I was a little, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed. So my rookie year, I did 27 and I think like 8.1 or 2 million. So my goal going into my second year, I was like, oh, I want to do 35 units and, get it. I think by April or May when everything started changing with interest rates and I knew that was just probably a little bit unrealistic and I wasn't going to hit it. I got super upset. But I'm like, hey, I at least made more money. I did it, again, by myself. All organically. I was not paying for leads. I have yet to do that. I might. But so there was I had to look at the positives of it, but I was a little disappointed. So this year, I want that 10 million. I want 10 million this year, or it's like 10 million or bust. So we'll see.
You're going to get that 10 million. Think of it that
I'm
way.
getting
I don't want it. I'm going to get that 10 million. So I have my board back here. Last year I made a goal of hitting 100 houses, and I've sold 100 houses or done 100 transactions in a year in the past, but I decided that, I'm going to document it. I'm going to go for it. And I was tracking, I was going to get there. And then, the rates hit and it was like, everything just stalled out on me. And now I'm doing it again. And I just put out my update today and I have 0 closings so far this year. And that's the first time in a decade that's happened to me. And, I typically close on 5 to 8 in the month of January. And
wow,
it's not happening because I couldn't build up my pipeline for closings because we had those rate hikes. So basically I'm going to have to hit that 100 in 11 months. But thankfully,
you can do it.
Well, I will do it. But thankfully, things are happening right now where we're getting more phone calls. We're seeing more buyers come to the table. I think I got 4 listings hitting the market next week. So things are picking up and I'm feeling good about that. But we're really going to have to step up the game on like what we were talking about, the CRM, the game on, the systematic stuff in order for us to get there. Because it's not just going to happen by hustle. I mean, it's got to be a combination of hustle and systems.
Yep. 100% learning that. And it's interesting to hear that you are now getting phone calls and things like that, because in the last week or two, I've had an influx of calls coming in. So I think the mortgage rates dropping a little bit and people kind of realizing hey, yes, they're higher, but we were also experiencing an extreme low for mortgage rates, over the decades, that we're kind of getting back to a new normal and kind of getting out of that unrealistic expectation of interest rates being in the 2s. So I have been getting phone calls that is making me feel okay, I'm writing down my pipeline in my spreadsheets and I'm like, okay, yes, we have people, they're alive, they want to buy houses. So it's starting, my energy is getting back up and I'm excited.
Yeah. I just actually talked to a lender this morning and he said that rates are about 5.25. If you have very solid credit, 5.25. I'm like that. I did a video a while back, and put it on TikTok, and it actually got pretty good strength on TikTok. I got a lot of hate, of course, from people who just hate life. But, I was just saying that I think in January, buyers are going to be comfortable with the rates. They know they're not going to go back down, and they've been sitting for the last 2 years trying to time it. And now they're just going to say, screw it. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to buy a home. And that is exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah. And it's not a bad, I think I bought my first house and it was a 5. I think it was 5.5 or something, back in when did I buy my first house? 2010, something like that. So, that was normal.
I'm so old. It was 7.25 when I bought my first house.
Well, I'm just saying that was normal. That was a normal thing, kind of being in those 4s, 5s. So I think people just need to let go of that 2 and 3%. Just get over it. You need to buy a house. Houses. I had someone the other day were well, I'm waiting for home prices to drop. And I'm like, dude, listen, I've been here for 8 years where I'm at. And I have never seen a house ever be as low as in 2015 when we were looking for houses. That's not it. So buy now. yeah, the price is never going back. I mean, you used to be able to build a house around here for like 200,000 new construction. That's not
Yeah,
happening
same here.
ever again. Get
Ever.
over it. Yeah.
It's funny.
So-
I was watching Fox News, and they had a gal Dream Home on, and at the very end of the segment, I was trying to find it so I could stitch it, but at the very end of the segment, Ducey says to the gal, he says, with interest rates going up, has that really changed things? And she's like, yeah, you know, with interest rates going up, at first I just want to stop and be like, rates aren't going up right now, because he said they were going up right now. And then she said, yeah, you know, with that, it's really changed things. But with the price drops, you know, it's so much better to get $50,000 off the price than it is to get 2 points on an interest rate. And then I want to do the numbers and be like, no, that doesn't work.
Right.
2 points on an interest rate on a, you know, $400,000 loan is way more or way less than a $50,000 off the price.
Yeah. But it sucks because there's so much misinformation out there like that. And people that don't sit back and like, wait, let me actually figure this out, that's just what they're running with. And I don't know about your market, but we aren't seeing huge price drops. Have we had some? Yes, but it's not on existing homes. It's mainly on new construction.
Same here.
And it's basically, they're just bringing back the incentives. People forgot that builders took those away, and they used to always offer those. So when you go back and look at the history, you can, but people don't do the research. So that's what we're here for.
You know, negative news gets way more traction than clickbait. And, you know, it's funny because when I get a video to go viral, it's not because my information's good. It's because I've got people who hate what I said, and they just sit there and blast it. They want to tell me how prices are too high, and I'm not buying until prices go down. One of the videos I did was simply put, when things went bonkers, so a lot of people pulled back, said, I'm not dealing with multiple offers. I don't care. I'm not going to mess with it. We're going to wait until that doesn't happen anymore. Well, in order for that to happen, something else bad has to happen to slow down this market and stop it. Well, interest rates went up. Now those people, I'm not buying a house. These rates are way too expensive. Like, you can always not buy a house, or you can
always find something that will keep you from buying it. Exactly.
Or you can just go buy a house and then adjust when you need to adjust. If it's refining your mortgage, whatever the case may be. Yes. And it's always a strong investment. Like you said, in 2015, prices aren't where they were in 2000. They're always going to go up. Over time, they are going to go up.
Yes.
And there's so many benefits to it.
I don't want to speak for everyone, but we've bought several houses now, and I have never bought a house where it was a bad investment and we lost money. We've always made money on it. And being military, we have moved a few times, and it was always a good investment. So we personally are not big believers in renters, because we want to get equity out of our house.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And over time, I mean, like, if you're a person who's going to move in a year, you might end up, it might end up costing you some, but if you hold it for 5 years, you're going to win. No question. No question. So one thing that I've always loved and respected is our military. And I noticed very on when I started following you on TikTok that you did a lot of stuff with VAs, and I was just like, how did that so basically that came from being married to someone in the military, or how did you fall into that specific category, and what are you doing to build on top of that?
So we are military. My husband has been stationed here at Fort Bragg we're going on 8 years, which is hard to believe because I feel like we just left Pennsylvania. But it just was easy because all of my friends, everyone that we kind of associate with for the most part is military. When you don't have family around, your military friends become your family. Mm-hmm. So it was just easy to do that. I had already built those relationships. If you said you follow me and stuff, you know that I'm big with organic relationships, and I hate the word legion. I always say you're building relationships. So for me, when I got into real estate, those were my biggest supporters. And then it just kind of kept going from there, because a lot of my business is referrals. So, and again, just because of where I live, that's why people are coming and going. That's why, Fort Bragg is moving all these soldiers. So that's just, I would say honestly, probably 98% of my business is dealing with the military. It's very rare for me to get somebody that's not military, even if they might not be active, they had some kind of connection to it being retired or something like that. I love it. It's my biggest enjoyment, I guess, is helping those people. When my husband and I moved here, we bought a house, new construction, sight unseen. And it wasn't until we moved into the house in the area that we kind of realized that our agent did not have our best interest. And that kind of pushed me a little bit more. And then I had always thought about it. But once I got into this, I was like, I remember what it was like to be super nervous to leave our family, start this new life, go to a new place, and then not know the area, not know the house, all that stuff. So I think that experience helped me a lot in what I do. And then I'm able to help them like, oh, you need help with your goods, or you want to know about schools, or you want to know this. So I think about everything that I went through and all the stresses. And I try to just automatically start my relationship with those people like this. And they're like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have thought about that. I'm like, you would have in the middle of it when you were super stressed and wondering where your goods were and all this stuff. So that's kind of how it just went. And then just the personal referrals have kept it going.
Well, you really teed me up for my next question. So your husband, is he still active?
Yes.
Okay. What's his name? First name?
Casey.
Casey. Okay. So with that being said, now you've started this real estate career. It's going well. What happens if you have to move?
So for us, we are very fortunate where my husband he has a job within the military that he won't really leave here. He deploys all the time. But our home will be here. So unless he like tries really, really hard to go to a different base, we're here at Bragg for the rest of his career.
Well, that's good. Cause I know like in our business, like being in one spot is massive. I can't remember who the other TikTok person was, but they were like, I'm moving and I'm going to try and start my real estate business somewhere else. I'm like, oh man, I couldn't imagine that. Like, I think I could get it done, but it would take some time. It would take some effort, and it would be crisp.
That was kind of one of our big things too. Whenever I talked about getting into this full time was, we're making sure that we're staying here, things like that, because I would not personally do this if I had to then move 2 or 4 years and just keep restarting. That's just not ideal. So we are lucky that he said some days, maybe we'll go to Arizona because there's something he could do out there. And I'm like, you are not. I just visited Arizona a few months ago and I was like, that's not the place for me. Cool to see, but not the place where I want to live.
Right.
So absolutely. Too dry.
So on TikTok, all right. One of my biggest struggles right now is I have a great following on TikTok. I put a ton of content out there. I don't really have what you would call a TikTok leads. I've sold one house to somebody that I met through TikTok. And that was more so because I had bad shoulders and he was given shoulder exercises. He's a physical therapist, that type of thing. And he was actually in the Navy. So, so
that's cool.
I met him through there and then he ended up buying a house a year and a half later.
Oh, cool.
But I know you have said that Selling More is your handle on TikTok because of Moore County. You have people in town, they just call you Selling More. Mm-hmm. What type of leads are you actually, and just being actual leads, getting from TikTok?
So in 2022, that was a ton of my business. I don't want to give a percent because I don't know, but I did 17 transactions. So whatever 17 is of 20, what I do, 24. And it's funny because when I was texting you earlier this morning, I said, hey, I got to run to the store real quick. While I was in the store, I had a TikTok buyer call me and she just absolutely made my day. I'm like in the checkout line, like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll connect with you as soon as I get out of here. So this year I already have 7 leads off of TikTok. Of people that, have signed my buyer's agency agreement, are actively looking for homes. Some of them are a little spread out. They're not going to be here until midsummer. But TikTok is a main source of my business now, which is super exciting because it's my favorite clients. They already know my personality. They've already started to gain trust with me, different things like that. So for me, bring those TikTok buyers all day and sellers.
How do you make it so hyper local? Like, I mean, TikTok is, I've got people all over the country. I have so many friends in like Maryland and like all these other places. how do you get it to be just in Moore County?
So it's not just Moore County. I'm very big with tagging like Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg's a huge base. I think it touches 5 counties. So I'll just randomly put all those counties in there. Sometimes I only do one, but I ask each TikTok buyer how they found me. And for instance, her name's Allie today that I spoke to. I said, "How did you find me?" And she was like, "TikTok." I was like, "Great." She's like, "I actually found your TikTok whenever Moore County, we had that huge power outage a few weeks ago." And she said it just like Moore County was just like, I guess, a topic on her For You page. She said she had been searching North Carolina real estate elsewhere. So she thinks that's how it popped up. And she just saw one of my posts that I did. And she said, then I saw another person tag you in a video because they were so inspired by what you were doing to help some of the clients that were without power, couldn't close on a house. And I was putting them up in hotels. And she said, I just thought that's a girl I want to work with because she's going to have my back. And then she said she's been following me for the last month and just finally felt like ready to reach out. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
that's awesome.
I just tag everything. I tag anywhere that I think somebody that I can personally connect with them and get them in an area. So whatever areas I'm talking about or whatever areas I serve, I tag that.
Okay. So it's all about the, what they would call geotagging, right? Like
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out TikTok too. I get super frustrated. I know there's ways to grow on TikTok. Like you said, you could post bad information or negative things and get people talking. I'm not about that. So I'm okay with having, 14, 15,000 followers because I'm having people who have 200, 300,000 followers that are like, what are you doing? You have way more leads than I do. And I'm like, I'm just trying to focus on putting good information out there, making people laugh, making people trust real estate agents, and the rest of it will come. Every once in a while, does it still frustrate me? Hell yeah. But I posted a video the other day and it's at like 2.5 or 4 million views. And it is the most negative comments that I just stopped reading the comments. I don't respond. I don't care. I'm over it.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, I want this video to go away.
And it's all those idiots that are making your video stronger.
Yes. Yeah. But it was just a funny post that I did. It's with my kids in it in their game room. And it was actually from last year. But I was bored the other day, didn't have anything to post. So I was like, I'm just going to repost it. And it went crazy. And then the comments just started coming. At first, I was like trying to defend myself and
you can't.
Whatever. And I was just like, I don't give a shit anymore. So I just stopped. But of course, that's the video that gets the views. And I'm like, if that's what I have to post to get people to follow or view, that's not what I want. Because none of those people are going to buy a house from me anyway, nor would I ever want to work with them.
You didn't intend it to be like it was a funny thing. It was satire, right? Like there's some of there's video that I did. I think I didn't have 1 million, but it may have had 50,000 views or something like that. And I think I commented it's satire like probably 50 times. I'm like, these people, you guys are bonkers. Like grow up.
Yes. That's what people were like, why would you post somebody's kids without their permission? I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're my kids. And they were so excited that I was like, hey guys, we could jump on the couch. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, please go do that. So it is what it is. You got to take the good and the bad with it.
Yeah. I took a peek. You probably just saw, I followed you on Instagram. I took a peek at your Instagram and it looks like you might have the same issues that I have with Instagram. Like you get like 100 views or 200 views. And it's like the most, and I mean, that happens on TikTok too, right?
Yeah.
Like there'll be a video I'll put on TikTok and it will get 12,000 views and I'll put it on Reels and it gets 1 or 2.
Yeah. I'm learning. I can't say that I put a lot of time into my Facebook or my Instagram. I do feel like I try to be a little bit more professional on those platforms.
Yes.
But I have a website that I use that it'll take my TikToks and just automatically post it to the other platforms. So whatever it does on there, I'm like, cool. I don't really put too much effort into it. I probably should.
Yeah.
Again, it's time consuming and I really enjoy TikTok. I have so much fun on that. So
it's definitely a fun app. I looked you up on YouTube and I didn't see, do you have a YouTube channel?
So I just started it and that one I am going to try to put in some effort. I did learn. I just had posted a video, and it's funny. I have younger siblings. They're in college, so I'm constantly like calling them and asking them for help. But my brother was like, post a video, not through the like directly upload it to the platform, film it in your camera roll. Don't take it from TikTok. Yeah. And I did. And that one actually got over 1,000 views, which is a lot for me on YouTube, because some of them were only getting like 2 or 3 views when I would post it from that other website. So I'm trying to figure those out. I also know that YouTube is a different, different people are on there looking for different things. It's not necessarily the TikTok vibe. So I'm trying to learn how to also kind of learn how to adapt to that. So
YouTube has literally become a search engine.
That's what I've heard.
So, but here's the deal. Like when you've got these social platforms, if you're in them earlier, you grow organically so much faster. And as those get bigger and bigger and bigger, like YouTube, for example, like it is so difficult to grow on YouTube because it is such an old platform with so many people on it. TikTok's starting to kind of get there. Like it's getting harder to get things to take off like they used to. But I mean, I've been doing YouTube for years. I mean, my videos go all the way back to slideshow videos. And I've got like 380 videos that I've put on YouTube, and I've got 370 or somewhere in that ballpark as far as subscribers go. Nice. It's a tough cookie to break through. But I did notice when I looked, I searched, and you were on a show with Michelle Belisari.
Yes.
And it was kind of funny because my real estate coach with Tom Ferry introduced me to Amy Burrow.
Okay.
Like last year, and she coaches Amy as well. So when I look, I'm like, what are the odds that I find one video with you on YouTube and it's you and someone else I know?
Yes, that's funny. It's a small world. I'm learning that. Sometimes I've been going to different places and meeting agents. Thanks to TikTok, I can go places. I'm like, hey, the other day I was like, I'm in Baltimore, and I got to have lunch with a whole group of TikTok agents and lenders. But I'm realizing what a small world it is. And it's funny because, again, people are like, you're selling more. I'm like, I'm Kristyn. Nice to meet you. I'm so excited to meet you. So it is funny. I'm super pumped to be a part of different things like this, and Zoom calls and podcasts. And I'm learning from you guys just as much as you guys are interested in what's working for me. I'm like, well, you guys are the seasoned ones. You're the ones that helped me. You're the reasons I got on TikTok. So it's funny to be able to now give back to a little.
Yeah. Baltimore is like the place. Cause my first guess was Chi-Ann. I don't know if TV, like the dude's funny. And so I'm like, I'm going to call him up and see if I can get him on. And he was happy to do it. And then, I've got this group of people in Baltimore that I follow, and it's like, why did I gravitate to Baltimore? Like, I had Todd Collins on. I'm sure you probably know who Todd Collins is. And I don't know, Alyssa Crastel.
Yes, I got to meet all of them, and I got them to dance. Todd Collins is dancing in one of my TikToks.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He said, I don't dance. I was like, I did not drive all the way to Baltimore for you to not dance. You're going to dance. So we did the Wednesday dance, and I got to meet all of them. They took me to lunch down by the harbor. And again, same as you, I don't know anything about Baltimore. I grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So Baltimore is like a no-no, but here I am with all these friends in Baltimore now. So it's pretty cool what this TikTok platform has allowed. All of how we can all meet and collaborate and support each other.
Yeah, I live in Iowa, and I don't travel much because I've just got a bunch of kids. And just a lot going on. I've got 2 girls in club volleyball. I got one in college right now, so I go to her volleyball games, a little bit in the fall, but it's tough for me to get out and travel much. I've got a very busy real estate business, which also doesn't help me get out and travel much. I don't think people understand. Like when a real estate agent travels, they don't just pay for the travel. They also have to pay lots of money to have people help, unless you have a special, like I now have a licensed assistant, which I still have to pay her. But when you would leave town, people don't wait around for you. I've had a number of times where I'm gone for 4 days and I talk to the person and they're like, yep, we're not doing anything for a week. You get back and they're like, oh, we bought a house. Sorry, we saw one that popped up. And it's like, that's a $12,000 hit to my pay.
Yep.
That trip just cost me,
a lot more,
$16,000. Right. So like traveling for me has always given me anxiety for the simple fact that the lost opportunity is very, very great.
Yes. So, yeah. I have other parents that'll be like, oh, you work a lot, or you're always on the phone, or my girls are in competitive cheerleading and my son is a wrestler, and we travel all the time for all three of them. And the first year that I was in the cheerleading world, one of the moms was like, oh, after the season, we were at Disney World because my girls were at Worlds. She's like, oh, you're actually really fun. And I was like, thanks. And she's like, well, a lot of people kind of think that you're a little bit stuck up because you're always like on the phone or working, or you sit in your car. And I was like, and I kind of took it personally for a second. And I was like, no, girl, but cheerleading's expensive. I got to work. And I was like, no, it doesn't stop. I said, so while my girls are at practice, I have to use that time to go show houses or answer the phone, things like that, catch up on work, because I'm trying to do it, all, be mom, be a good real estate agent, things like that. So once I think the parents got to know me a little more, that I wasn't necessarily being a standoffish person, I just am super busy, they let off. And now I've sold some houses to some of them and they're like, oh, we understand now, you work really hard for us. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm cheering for my girls, but I'm going to do it from the corner back here so I can get good Wi-Fi.
It totally. And there's so many times where I'm in that same boat. I'm also that in public settings, I'm not really an extrovert. I just kind of hide out in my corner and I just kind of do my thing. And I get told by a certain person all the time that, oh, everybody thinks you're too good, or everybody thinks you're stuck up. And I'm just like, if they knew me, they know that I'm far from that. Like I could care less, right? I mean, if you look at my camera roll, yeah, I might look like I'm stuck up, but that's because everything I do is for work. And I'm always taking videos. And let me tell you, like, a TikTok video isn't just one shoot. And if you don't delete the 20 that it takes you to get to that point, your camera roll looks really, really bad.
You're always out of storage.
Yes, always. But no, it's so true, because when I go to the volleyball tournaments and stuff, hey, I got a second in between. I'm not going and having a drink at the bar with the other parents. I'm typically working. Like, I've got employees, I'm typically calling people, checking emails, trying to catch up on that hour that you missed. Like, I'm sitting here, we're here 30 minutes and my phone is over here. And I don't know what it is. It could be a group message with 20 messages from something that doesn't really matter, but it's a stressful business. And it's, you hear some new agents that have one deal in the pipeline and they're super stressed. And there's times where I've had 20 closings in a month, right? Like, you want to talk about stressed, but it's just how you handle it. And over time, you can deal with so much more at one point, but there's a lot to it. And you can't just sit back and just let things happen. Right. And I feel like that's part of being a good real estate agent, is not sitting back. And when stuff does pop up, you handle it immediately. You let everybody know what's going on, and everything goes a lot smoother from that point. But if you sit back and you just take your time, you ignore, a message here, message there, it doesn't work out very well.
Right. I did a TikTok on that not too long ago about when I first got in the business. Everyone said, most agents, you fail out within the first 2 years, blah, blah, 80%, all that stuff. And I always took that to heart. And I was like, I'm not going to be that statistic. Well, now rolling into my third year, I guess I always just thought that some of those agents just didn't have what it takes, or they just sucked. But I'm like, how many of those agents actually just couldn't handle the stress of it? Because nobody talks about the amount of stress and how you really aren't ever to turn off. Like, there's been times where I'm like, I really don't want to drink right now because I know this person might be calling me, and I don't want to be like 2 glasses of wine in and being like, woo, and just talking, So a lot of it is the stress. And I 100% agree. And there's been times where I'm like, F this, I'm over it. I just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. And I don't really care right now what's going on. You can't do that. And I think I've had to learn too of how to just, sometimes you do have to just let this go. Sometimes those people just need a minute to really think. Sometimes they'll call or text you because they're trying to talk through it. Other times, you just have to let that builder just say things and,
Yep.
steam a little. But I've learned that really, I always just try to always have a solution. I'm going to present you with the problem, but I'm also going to try to have that solution for you. So like, hey, here's what's going on, but this is what we're going to do, and try to really always keep it a super level. Even though when I hang up that phone, I might be like, like freaking out on my own. But when I'm presenting it to the client, the builder, whoever I'm working with, so the stress is definitely there's, but that's why I have TikTok. That's my stress reliever. And I just go on there and joke around.
Well, parenting really helped us out with that because, when your kid's out playing and your kid gets hurt and it's just mass chaos, as a parent, you have to go, okay, I got to handle this situation. I got to take care of this. I got to keep everybody calm. We got to move on. And then by the end, the kid's laughing and happy, and you go inside and you're like, oh.
Right. Yes, 100%.
It's definitely the way it is. When you were saying that, that's all I could think of is like taking care of children. We have to be calm. We have to be able to handle it. We have to come up with that solution. It's the same with the real estate business, because emotions are absolutely nuts when people are buying a home. And I feel like over the last 2 or 3 years, now that you're in the business, it's like gotten 10 times worse. And unrealistic craziness things happen in real estate, more so in the last 2 or 3 years than ever before.
Yeah. I always say I'm glad there's not a camera in my car, a hidden camera, because that's where you would see me at my highest of highs and my lowest of lows. So my car is my little safe space. I have left my house before and just sat in my driveway in my car just so I could have a moment away from my husband and my kids and just be like, whatever I need to get through, I do it in the car just to collect myself. So
my wife's in the real estate business, and I can't tell you how many times she pulls into the garage, kids come inside, and it's like 10 minutes later, I look in the garage like, yo, you coming inside?
Okay. Yeah.
She's like, well, I just know the minute I come back inside, it's back to the chaos, and I just needed a minute. And I go, I get it. Yeah. I totally understand.
I tell my husband, if I ever come in and get the wine out of the wine fridge and head back to my car, just let me be. Just let me be and let me sit in the driveway for a minute.
So what are your goals looking forward in 2023?
So goals are, I would love to do 30 units. And what I say, 10 million. I have 2 neighborhoods that have been at work. One of them has been in progress for 2 years. That one is finally getting out of the ground. I need to the sun's out today, so I need to go drive by and see if the power company went out to install the lines. So that is my big goals, is getting that neighborhood up, marketing, all of that stuff, because it's different. We had this neighborhood in the works whenever everything was just flying off, and now it's totally different. So now we're coming up with different marketing plans and things like that. So that's super exciting. It's also very exciting to be a part of the design process and all of that. So that's all my goals in there, is just to continue to learn the new construction side, because that's my other passion. So VA buyers and new construction, and just continuing to get it done and learning the whole work-life balance. So
awesome.
My goals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year. I think this spring, it's going to be interesting. For you, going into this different market, we don't know, we literally don't know what's going to happen from one month to the next until we can get our economy and our administration and everything figured out, because it's just so chaotic.
We're paying $7 for eggs. I paid attention to the price today because I only need a few things, and I was like, $7 for eggs. What the hell is going on?
Like $2 or $3.
What? My son, everyone keeps telling me, oh, wait until your son eats one guy was telling me his son eats 10 cheeseburgers and he's 14. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell? My son eats 2 eggs, but I'm going to be like, hey, we're going to have to back that down to 1. Yep. Ridiculous.
Mix in a cheese stick with that.
Right. There you go.
Although those are probably going to go up too, right?
Right. Everything is.
But we don't. I feel like our economy is kind of fake right now. It's kind of been fake for the last few years. It just seems like we hear certain things and then we see certain things, but yet everybody's walking around with a smile on their face and going about their business. And you just wonder, when is this thing just going to go boom?
Yeah.
We don't know. And it might not. And I pray that it doesn't. I pray that the haters on TikTok, I pray that all of them, they're wrong.
Right.
But when you look at things from a realistic glass, you're just like, I feel like there's something that's going to hit us here and it's not going to feel good.
Yeah.
But I
No.
also believe that in my career, I've weathered the storm in the past. I worked in a freezer and I also hung cabinets. I mowed grass at a golf course and I fall asleep mowing fairways on a mower because
My
I was
goodness.
working so much just to try and maintain my real estate business.
Mhm.
So like I've been through it. I know that I can succeed. I know that I'll make it. I know that I'll be fine because if this world crashes, everybody else goes down too. I feel like I've got the strength and the power and the work ethic to make it through. But it's just, when is it going to happen and how bad is it going to be? And I know that typical recessions, real estate market does fine. The last one was because of the real estate market, because of bad loans. So I'm staying optimistic. I'm staying, excited about this real estate market. It's just, you got to be ready for any curveball that comes your way, because I feel there's going to be a number of them.
Yes. No, I 100% agree. Thankfully, my husband and I have, over the years, because this wasn't my full-time career, we have learned to, and because of his job, learn to be, I feel, smart financially and make smart financial decisions. So for me, when I got into real estate, even though, yes, I do very well now for myself and for us, we've always learned to live off of just his income, because his income was always the steady one. And mine would be, hey, if my kids were sick at school, I was the one that had to miss work or things like that. So I feel like thankfully we put in some safeguards to help us if there is a huge storm. But I also think that we learned from the 2008, 2009 recession, and we do have things in place that will help us as far as the real estate business goes. So again, where I'm at in my market, people are always coming and going, and people are going to have to buy houses or sell their houses. So as long as I continue to put in the work to be a great agent and give good advice and continue to serve my clients well, hopefully they will keep referring me, and we'll just weather it. So I think, again, you just got to be ready to pivot. And that's with any career, anything in life, any stage in life, being a mom, being a dad, whatever. Heck, I'm about to have teenagers, and that has brought on a whole mix of different things that I'm learning to pivot to. Maybe not so well. You might find me in my car a little bit more sometimes. My 10-year-old is, she's 10 going on 18. And I'm like, I'm not ready for this.
Right.
So I think as long as you have that mindset and that attitude, like, we'll get through it.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, make sure you tell Casey, if you're watching, thank you for your service. I love our military. That's one of the most important things that we could possibly have, defending our freedom. It's an amazing thing, but I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to keep following you on TikTok and Instagram. And hey, if you ever come to Iowa, let me know. I got a crew we can get together. We can have a lot of fun.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great 2023.
You too.
All right.
Have a good day.
Bye.
We'll see you.